to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? Your what? Your what? Money. Absolutely. Now, listen, today we are talking about a magnanimous financial lesson in the world of music and advertising. Check this out here. In 2003, Pusha T helped write McDonald's I'm Lovin' It. How many of you guys knew that? How many of y'all knew that Pusha T wrote the I'm Lovin' It jingle? Yeah, but here's the kicker. He didn't retain the publishing rights. Now, fast forward to today, and that mistake has potentially cost this man $200 million. So, in this episode, we are going to dive into the importance of retaining publishing rights, how to secure long-term royalties, and what we can learn from Pusha T's journey. So, let's get into it. Now, we got the beautiful queens today. It's just three of us for now, but we got one joining us a little bit later. We have wealth strategist, Miss Aisha Verze. What's up, Miss Aisha? An international real estate agent. Lala, it's been a minute. I ain't seen you in a minute. We're on different days. How you doing, mama?
I know. I miss you.
You too. Everything good? Everything good? Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
So listen, first of all, did you guys know who Pusha T was?
Yes.
Okay, y'all knew who Pusha T was. So he used to be in a group called The Clips, and I only really knew him. I think he had a couple of beefs with somebody, like with Drake and somebody else, I think. So that's kind of how I knew who he was. I really didn't know him, but I didn't realize that he did this jingle, and I didn't also realize that the jingle business was such a great business. Laura, do you do jingles?
My husband and I have done jingles.
How's that work?
And we've seen both sides of it. It's really interesting. You as an artist really do have to pay attention to what's important to you and what you feel like you're able to give up. Because when you are trying to get your foot in the door, sometimes you do have to take deals like this. McDonald's is smart. McDonald's has been around a long day.
Yeah.
So maybe longer than him. So they understand what it means to give people royalties on what they're doing. And this is why they most likely. Now, if he had good representation, he might have been able. But with McDonald's, they'd be like, get somebody else to do it. So you either do it and you kind of start building a little bit of credibility with that. And then you have more power. So I can see both sides, and we say made, but you don't know. They could have gone to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, $500,000 ain't nothing to sneeze at. So I'm sure for him, that was a lot of money. It was during the beginning of his career, and so he probably wasn't. He didn't think. Who knew? Like who?
He was only 20 years old then. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go into these things, do you really know?
You don't know.
Yeah. So what did you think when you read this about Pusha T, Aisha?
Yeah, I felt the same thing. Like, you just never know. You don't know. And he was so young when this jingle, was rolled out, and he got that $1 million and he split with his brother. You just never know, right? And at that time, if at 20, $1 million would be a lot for me too. I would be like, wow,
it's a lot for me now. I'd be clicking my heels if I got $1 million for a jingle. You know what I'm saying? Like, but hindsight being 2020, I'm sure, right? I'm sure it's much different. Let's look at the first video where they're discussing this. What's up, everybody?
Stout deal through Stout's agency, correct? Yep. Did you get compensated nicely? Yeah. Was it as good as you think you should have been compensated? No.
I mean, wait, hold on. Let's be fair, though.
Okay, let's be fair.
Not now, but
relative to today, no.
No, but it's
relative to then, was it? It was cool.
It's never cool
life-changing at the time.
No.
Did you even think it was life-changing at the time?
It was good money, man. I was 20 years old, maybe. I think it was like $1 million. Me and my brother split.
That's a lot of money.
Cool for that.
For a snippet of a song, for a snippet of an idea that went into a commercial that wasn't a record deal, that you had no recoupable, nothing. It was just money.
Right. It was just money. But it was no way I should have done it the way that I did it.
Well, relative to what McDonald's is and what it was used for later.
All this time?
It's still been going on. Right. It should have been some sort of deal in perpetuity where you continue to get money.
Say the word again.
Perpetuity.
Thank you, sir.
Perpetuity. But that begs the question especially for people who are coming up and they're signing things that they really don't know. You being in the music industry, Laura, like, what do you say for like young artists who are just coming in when they're looking at these options? How should they be looking at these contracts?
First, you need to make sure that you have the proper legal representation. What I see the most is that when they do think about getting any kind of legal representation, they don't choose the right one. Not all attorneys understand the linguistics of the entertainment industry. So you really need to choose the right one. Don't get so gung-ho that you don't understand the ins and outs. The biggest mistake I see is people just get the dollar signs. Oh, this is one-time payment, but they don't even bother to read the contract, because there could be a clause in there that says, unless we decide to go to a different level. You can negotiate anything, just like in real estate. So make sure that you understand and have the right representation, not Uncle George, who happens to be a criminal lawyer. That's different.
Right. You know, and then the thing about it is, who knew that I'm Lovin' It was going to be the longest running campaign in McDonald's history? That's increased their revenue. Like, who knew? Like, you just don't know. It's like a roll of the dice. I mean, Aisha, what do you think? Like, what could he, in hindsight, him just being this young 20-year-old kid?
Yes, right. What could he have
advised your child? Let's say
right. What would I advise my child? What would I have done differently? You know, everything. Hindsight 2020 will have great ideas, right? Everything, because now we've learned. We're older. We've heard how others have taken care of any situation like that. But if I go back to that time, if I was his age that time, not knowing, just like he said, of course I don't know. You know, even if I just save my own money, maybe some of my own money, and just grow it, right? Because sometimes you just don't know. The jingle just, lucky made great and just kept going and going and going. It could have just stopped in 1 year. You don't know. So your 1 million will be great, right? But we don't know that. But so if I was my son, then what I would have done, if I don't know anything, I don't know about contracts. If I get that money, I'll make sure I spend some, but save some for the future, so it will also grow and compound, and not just spend it and buy fancy cars. Because I bet you, if we go back and see, he probably bought flashy cars and now gone, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, think about it. If that was an artist who did not end up having the success that Pusha T did, that would probably been a gold mine for someone else.
yes.
Right. Yeah. So I see Dr. Alicia has been sitting in the back, and I want to bring in the world famous Dr. Alicia. So Dr. Alicia, you've been watching this from the back, and you saw the video. What do you think? What advice, looking at it, so you don't have any point of reference. You don't know that this is going to cost him $200 million, that McDonald's would make $1 billion as a result of this. It's your son. He's new in the rap industry. What would you tell him to do? What advice would you give him?
I would give my son, who experienced something like this, I would recommend that he process what just happened so that you can learn from
therapist. Process
it. And the key thing is overcoming the regrets of your past decisions and thinking about, okay, in that moment that I made that decision that's regrettable, what was going on in my life that motivated my actions? How was I feeling at that time that I made that regrettable decision? What options did I have that I did not take? And exploring some of these can help you learn from mistakes so that you can say, I was feeling this way. I was tired.
Right.
I was annoyed. I had all these things going on. And not only that, but it helps you form compassion for the decisions that you've made. And when you're processing your regrets, you can say, okay, what do I wish should have happened that didn't happen? Right. And what can I do right now to make amends? So when you go into Arby's and you're going into a new contract, you're able to think back and say, let me learn from my past mistakes and not continue what I'm doing. So it is a beautiful illustration for all of us today to understand that the object in life is not to be perfect. The object in life is to be able to know yourself and to have insights into your behaviors that looking back on, you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you don't want to live life with regrets.
Yeah.
Right. And so making sure that you process it is very poignant. So we're going to talk more about it when we come back from our break.
Woo! It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow.
So listen, I want to look at this stat, this first stat really quick before we go to the next video, because I think this is interesting about how much people earn on publishing. And I cannot find, where are we at? Oh, there we go. A survey by Music Consumers Insight Report shows that nearly 75% of artists are unaware of the potential income from publishing rights and royalties, leaving them vulnerable to exploitative deals. There's another one about how much they earn. I wanted to see that one because I thought that was interesting also. A 2021 report by Copyright Alliance stated that artists who own publishing rights can earn up to 3 times more income than those who do not, as they retain more control over their works. And then there's one more, which is actually the one that I really wanted. This one. The McDonald's I'm Lovin It campaign has been credited with boosting McDonald's global sales by over $2 billion annually, with significant advertising revenue flowing from it. It's one of the longest running and most iconic advertising campaigns in history. And then finally, there's one more. According to a 2022 report by Music Business Worldwide, songwriters can earn up to $1 million per year from publishing royalties. on a hit song depending on the song's successes and global reach. Now I want to take it back to the queens. Now that you know these facts, now I want to know how you would advise your children. Now that you know these facts on these slides, Lala, I know you're already in the music industry, but based upon this, now how would you advise your children? You're muted, baby.
I don't change my advice. You must understand the contract. Don't get so starry-eyed that you do not understand your options in this. Don't just jump to conclusions that this is your only option or you don't have the power to negotiate. You know, if they're that interested in you, they will let you stick around enough to do some type of negotiations. They obviously saw the talent in him that they wanted. And they also take a risk too, because like we say, things change real quick. If that didn't become a very popular jingle, that could have been shelved and they just would have gone on to find another one that was more popular. But they also could have also used him again on the second one. So understand your options legally.
Understand your options. All right. What do you think, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I think you got to think twice about doing a diss track. So here's this company has paid you what was contractually fair. It's not their fault you don't know your worth. And you know what? Maybe McDonald's is surprised that jingle took off. I mean, it's a basic thing. I'm loving it. They took a chance and invested, okay, $500,000. They probably back there scratching their head like, I cannot believe this little two-second jingle is worth $5,000. Maybe people in the boardroom, maybe McDonald's took a chance on Pusha T and Pusha T was like,
hold up, because you're talking about the diss track, which we haven't gotten to yet. I want to know, based upon them slides where they talk about how much people make on these royalties.
Yeah.
How would you, just thinking, you change your advice? Because you talked about processing this.
Yeah, I do think
now that you have the knowledge as their mother, you know what the royalties are. How would you then advise them?
No, I mean, I agree with Lala. I'm just trying to add some more color to the conversation.
You don't get there.
And she said it all, but I think like, you know, I don't want to talk about the diss track right now, but like it's a risky situation when you're going into a contract with somebody. You never know where it's going to be. And if anything, I would take the statistics about how you made one guy with these braids, one black guy with braids in his hair, some rapper made McDonald's billions of dollars. I'd take that information and I'd be like, look how valuable I am. Like I would make sure that I'd make $1 billion on my next deal. So, you know, that's how I look at it. It's like a win-win for everybody, a big win for McDonald's, but they took a risk. And he just came up with something. He probably didn't put that much effort. He put $500,000 effort into $1 billion thing. And that's the beauty of creativity. Like this creative space is so frustrating because a simple jingle and simple songs can like take off and make all this money. And you're not even thinking about it. It'd be something you did, a B track will be like your #1 hit. It's just the creative process to me, I think is so fascinating. Hats off to creators.
Yeah, that is the truth. What about you, Aisha? So now, because you the perspective that you had the last time was, you know, I don't know what it is, but make sure he puts, you know, money into compound interest. What would you say now that you have more of the facts?
Now that I have the facts, well, you know, it's so true that it was a win-win then, but now knowing what I know, and I'm going to advise my son, understand your copyright for your work, understand how that works in licensing agreements, understand that, understand how they calculate royalties, understand, you know, what rights are you granting them? What are you allowing them to take, right? Understand how they calculate it. What is your piece? How long? And make sure it's written down. And your counsel also understands it, right? Like ironclad, make sure the right people are on your side, checking those documents, reading them over and over again. And if I don't understand it, I will ask them to please give me an addendum to simplify what you've just written with a coded word as a lawyer. I want a written page to simplify what you just said here so I can make decisions. Because sometimes you don't understand the words, but I want a written addendum with simple main language that I will understand.
Right.
Before I sign it.
Absolutely.
And then that way you know what you're signing. And keep accurate records. Keep accurate records.
So my advice I would get to my son is like Lala, we'd make sure we'd have a entertainment attorney that understands royalties, right? Because no matter what, we don't understand it, and you cannot get your personal injury lawyer to do no shit like that. Number one. Number two, though, my advice would be, okay, based upon this, I would get a percentage of revenue. I would base it on percentages and not flat amounts. You got to think about what's his name who did Lion King? What's that boy's name? That guy. He's Jason Weaver. Jason Weaver. So he deferred. That goes back to deferred gratification, right? He deferred a flat fee and he got a percentage. And based upon that percentage, this man is living good, G-O-O-D-T, good. Now, because he opted and at a young age that, you know what, this sounds good. This is more money than I've ever had in my life, but I'll opt in for the percentage. And so that's the advice that I would give. And I would give that to anybody. But even for you guys in the chat, based upon what you know now, what would you advise your children on how to go into contract on something like that? I think that's important that, we're making these types of decisions. But I think, is it break time or, oh, no, there's another video I want to take a look at to further the conversation so that Alicia could talk about her damn diss track, baby.
The whole world love it. Now I gotta crush it. Filet your fishes, then you should be disgusted. How dare you sell a square fish, asking us to trust it? A half slice of cheese, Mickey D's on a budget. Arby's crispy fish is simply it. With lines round the corner, we might need a guest list. Eggs is stage left, the sandwiches taste fresh. A little cube of fish from a clown is basic. Say less, this argument is baseless. Drowned in tartar, that filet o fish is tasteless. See, Arby's only deals in the greatness. I bet the house on it like it's Vegas. Look, I could sell water to a well. How could you ever think I'd fail? Yeah, the crispy fish sandwich blazing trails. The mother clown's just too frail.
So I'm really impressed that he made it through that whole diss track without mentioning.
I ain't gonna lie. I kind of want to go to Arby's and check out this fish sandwich at this point because it do kind of look good a little bit. I ain't gonna front. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyway, so as a result, he did a diss track, and so based upon this diss track, he's made a ton of money and he has ownership. I think we have a little bit more information about the ownership that he has because I wanted to get into diss track, but I think it's on the Drink Champs video too. Is that on when he breaks it down? Can we look at that or no? I'm going to look at that too. Oh, you don't have that. Okay. So what do you think about what y'all think about the diss track? Because honestly, one of the things that the CEO of Arby's says is that, he couldn't have paid for this type of advertisement. Like, this was great. I've never heard this diss track before, to be honest with you. So I guess people are coming in to buy the fish sandwiches now. I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Alicia? What do you think about the idea of him doing a diss track?
I'm not in favor of writing diss tracks about people. So, I just think you have to be cognizant, and this is for everybody in the industry, and you got to think about relationships. Like, do you want McDonald's to hire you again to do another jingle when it's time to do another jingle? I just think that all of us need to understand the best ways to handle disputes, and it should be constructively. It should be done in a way that's respectful. And if I was McDonald's, I would look at this and go, okay, now we made a regrettable decision. Maybe now we need to put in our contracts. Ain't no diss tracks being done. You are not going to defame us and devalue us. And we paid you fairly what was apparently, or it'd be a really big issue. I think this is a regrettable decision all around. And I don't think it's really a good idea to put out that kind of energy to do a diss track. If Arby's came to me and asked me, if I'm a professional, and Arby's came to me and said, do a diss track on McDonald's, I would immediately say, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, that is not the type of image I would want to put out there, because think about it, you know, you get back what you put out. Mm-hmm. And so if you want your life to be about diss tracking and chaos and confusion and arguing, you're going to put out argument energy. And so I think it's so important to just think about, if you're feeling bitter about something, process that internally, process that with a therapist or a trusted person. But when you present yourself, always be a professional. I mean, what's going to happen next? Is Dairy Queen going to be like, looking at him going, Arby's did you wrong, and so now diss Arby's? Like, you're going to be the diss track person? I don't know. I just personally think that that's in bad taste. And I think that all of us need to reflect on making sure that our professional reputations come into play, and coming up with better strategies on how to navigate competitiveness and not be somebody's pawn in their feud, and just maintain who and what you are as a person.
And that's why, my dear, you are a therapist, because you certainly therapize the diss track. And I can't wait to hear what Aisha wants to say about that, because you sure was agreeing. But we'll ask Aisha what her thought is about the whole idea of the diss track when we come back from the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you, we are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
So Aisha, what do you think about the whole idea of a diss track?
The diss track, I don't want to be used as a pawn either. If I was in his shoes, because that's not right. My character matters to me. When we did the deal, it was fair. I signed it and I accepted it. If it didn't go well after that, because it did so well, I'm not going to use that chance now to diss them. So it means I'm dissing myself. That's how I feel, like you're dissing yourself. So I wouldn't like to be used for that. Rather, I would just do the work they asked me to do. Create your own jingle. Let's do yours for you. But I won't be used as a pawn to insult my work that I did before that did very well, so that you can shine. No.
Right. No. Do you? What about you, Lala?
I guess I'm the only one who's odds out. Listen, all is fair in love and war and business. And let me tell you something. These corporate people love every last bit of it. They don't care if it's somebody's dissing them. What they know is their name is getting free advertisement. And while the gentleman was saying, well, he didn't necessarily mention their name, everybody knows exactly who they're talking about. Let me tell you who is winning right now. Wendy's. I don't even eat a freaking Wendy's, okay? But every time Burger King, McDonald's, and all those other things come out, they troll. They troll all of their other competitors, and they are winning. So this is different than trying to put yourself down and worried about all that. This is about shmoney, okay? Right. And the more people talk about you, the more money you're going to make. We live in a society of drama. So the big corporate people are getting exactly what they want. I can guarantee you they ain't even thinking about Pusha T and that daggone jingle because they done made plenty of money with that. And now they're getting free advertising from the diss track.
I am 100% in agreement with you, Lala. That's what I was thinking. And I was thinking about how Wendy's would do the little memes, how they would just like, they would do little jabs. It's funny. And then you go and you're like, it's great. I don't know if you guys saw them, but yeah, this is like, it's not about being professional and having decorum. This is hip hop. This is fast food. They are, there's no bad advertisement. McDonald's is not. Think about it. McDonald's is winning because they didn't make $1 trillion gazillion out for his I'm Loving It. He's not, it wasn't in like malicious intent. He got ownership of Arby's. This man is winning. Like this is all around. This is fun. It's more tongue in cheek. Like they're having a good time. He making some money. Everything is good. And when you're talking about business, you got to be really strategic. So I know for you, Dr. Alicia, you're a therapist. And so I want you to process this. And I want you to just think about how this makes you feel and how do you look and how internally, this is Lala. What'd you say? Shmoney. It's about business. Trying to make some money. And that's what we have to start looking at, especially Black people, when we're looking at doing deals. It's not about burning bridges. This is certainly not a situation about burning bridges. It's about money. And so I want you to look at it, all of you, from a business aspect of it, right? And so as you are going and doing deals, how do you approach business? When you look at opportunities, how are you going to approach those opportunities? So there's one more video that I think we have about how this all came about that I want to look at, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. You can tell Gwen ain't here. Do we have another video?
Gremlins.
She said, give her a sec. Okay. All right. So I'm scared in the middle of the talk. She gonna throw the video on. Go ahead, Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, let me just say something while the producer's getting our video together. I love iPhones. And I think what's so great about their advertising is that iPhones, when they come out with a new version of their phone, their only competitor is their oldest version of their phone. They don't even speak to Samsung or Galaxy or whatever those other phones are. Their only competitor is an earlier version of them. But when Samsung comes out, they always comparing themselves to the iPhone because the iPhone is what, it's the one to beat. So I don't know. I just thought, like, I noticed that in the iPhone advertising. I thought that was pretty magical. Like, I don't even see my competitors because they ain't really my competitors. I'm only competing against the latest version of myself. So I like the way
I love the way you think. I'm only competing with the latest version of myself because these advertisers are competing with each other. I've seen commercials with Burger King versus McDonald's. We've seen those things. So this is nothing new. This is part of, them advertising against their competitors. Mm-hmm. So like them, I'm going to, okay, let's see. She's trying to work it out. But I mean, if you're in competition, if you're like a big brand like that, you've had like Pepsi versus Coke, you've had a lot of these big brand companies that had advertisement about each other. This is what this is. And, what I did find interesting though, in his diss track, when he talked about the fillet of fish being square, because he said that he would eat a square fish, but then Arby's fish is square too. So I just thought that was just one to point.
Isn't that funny?
That was interesting because that was part of the diss, but Arby's fish is square too. So while she's getting that together, let me ask you this. What are some ways that companies and brands take advantage of artists who don't understand publishing rights? And this question is for you, Lala, because I know that, you are out there in these industries and you're in a couple of different industries that may possibly have predators on the other side. What are ways that you've seen
Well, one of the things is they present it to you like there are no other options. And they may stand firm on that for a while. You need to be willing to step back sometimes and wait a little bit, because if they really do want you, they are going to stick around and say, well, you know what? Maybe that first one wasn't good. Well, what is it that you want? Don't be too eager to lay absolutely everything that you want out on the table in the beginning, because you have to learn the negotiation. Everything in life is about negotiation. It's the same with the house. You know what, Costas? You know, sometimes we don't tell them, we ask for everything and we hope that you get 2 of them. Let's hope you get the 2 of them, right? So it's all about just, you know, taking a deep breath and working through this whole thing with the contracts. Because believe me, baby, they're going to be smarter than you unless you have someone on your side and you're willing to take that deep breath before you sign. But I also want to explain to you what is going on in this industry right now. You have Timbaland, who has signed an AI artist. Okay, so if you don't think these corporations are now looking into what the AI is doing and how these AI companies have stolen people's music and repurposed it like Spotify, then you need to understand if they're coming to you, there's a reason they're coming to you as a physical artist. Then you need to understand, all right, then they really do want me for my talent. So let's see what we can do to let me be on top.
So what I hear you saying, 2 things that I pull from what you're saying is, 1, don't be so desperate, because they can smell desperation. Number 2 is be willing to walk away. And it's kind of like, and this is something that I think everybody could take away from, is like, it's like going to buy a car, being willing to walk away. They're going to try to figure out how they can make things work for you. So if it doesn't work out, say no, get in your car and take your ass home. They will be calling you to figure out how they can sell you that car on your terms. So it's the same thing. It's the art of negotiation. You have something in mind, and if they can't meet it, then you walk away. They will call.
And you don't look at it as a loss if they don't, because then you're compromising your artistry. That's when we get into you, Dr. Alicia. That's where I think you need to step in. You know, you have to be strong in your convictions to know what you are worth. Bless you.
I think I'm coming down. I'm sorry. So let's look at this last video. She finally got her act together. Maybe this
and for the world watching, listening, what is translation?
It's the marketing and advertising services company I started. For our first big thing was launching I'm Lovin' It for McDonald's.
Big.
That was in 2004.
It's a big
Major talk.
Yeah.
Special.
So Pharrell, who actually wrote the I'm Lovin' It.
No, you know who did that?
Who wrote that?
Pusha T.
Pusha T wrote that.
Oh, wow. That's crazy that Pusha T wrote the song for McDonald's.
I'm loving it. Is this the place to eat? Since I don't cook, I'll just rock to the beat. I'm loving it. At the end of the day, to relieve the stress, we add a little play. I'm loving it. Sometimes we have mishaps. You just overcome and adapt to setbacks. I'm loving it. You know you're my world. How could I mind love taps from my girl? McDonald's, I'm loving it. Move your feet, rock to the beat. Hungry for the music, gotta eat. I'm loving it, I'm loving it. No guts, no glory. Seems like I stumbled in the wrong territory. I'm loving it. Looks can be deceiving. There's a slight change of plans for the evening. I'm loving it. My car's way too clean. If only I could start this fine piece of machine. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
That rebranded McDonald's for the next decade.
Jewel drop. Jewel drop.
Now that's crazy, because to me, those were some ABC rhymes. It's like, you just got to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, to get $1 million for that, I could have went in the studio and did them bars, like really. But Alicia, what do you think when you saw that video about what he was able to do with that?
Let me tell you, like, y'all watch this show called Mad Men. And it is about it's shot in the 50s and 60s, and it is advertisers on Madison Avenue in New York. And so instead of it calling advertisers, it's like Mad Men for Madison Avenue. So Mad Men, check out this series. Oh my goodness, it is so true. So like what they're selling, McDonald's is not selling hamburgers and French fries. McDonald's is selling happiness. That is what they're selling. They're marketing that. They're saying, did you hear what he said? At the end of a long work day, what you gonna do? Grab a burger and go to McDonald's because you need happiness. It ain't about McDonald's. It's about the experience that McDonald's gives. So therefore, all y'all entrepreneurs out there, you think you selling one thing, you got to really think about what feeling you're really selling. Gosh, that is really something. So if I want to talk about selling my business, I'm talking about making it a bigger conversation about business. What is it that I'm selling with my healing? I'm selling freedom. You know, because once you're healed from your trauma, you're free. You're free to have healthy relationships. You're free to get rid of toxicity. And it's the freedom that really I'm trying to convey to people, because that's the feeling I want you to have when you meet with me, when you buy my products, when you invest in yourself. It is freedom is what I'm talking about. And nothing imprisons you more than being held back and stuck by past traumas. That's what I have to say.
Amen. I'm sorry, I was on mute because I was about to sneeze. What do you think, Aisha, about the video and the real play and on, what he was able to do? What do you think about? What's your feedback on the video?
Yeah, the video actually looked really great. I actually enjoyed watching it, and how they were able to use that jingle and create such videos around it. It's so great to see the creativity using that jingle over, and then seeing that just looks so great. But again, like Dr. Alicia was saying, it's about the feeling, the freedom, the experience you feel when you walk into McDonald's. I'm sure he did the jingle and left, but then they took it and did the work behind the scenes. Right. So you see the whole creativity aspect of just that jingle and how powerful it was. But again, at the end of the day, hindsight 2020, like, wow, I didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't know that. But, they got his jingle and they put all the videos in and made it look so much fun, and seeing all the people working and the joy, whether you're a professional or you're just casual playing with your friends, all the stuff they just put around that jingle. It's so powerful, and because it's visual and you see yourself in it, like, wow, this is great. So
yeah.
And I got something to say.
Say it, sis.
Because we talking about Pusha T, right? We know that he got a certain amount of money. I know in hindsight, he wish he would have done something different, but this is also how we learn. There's no mistakes, guys. It's learning lessons. But what y'all didn't catch is who's singing the jingle. That is Justin Timberlake. I'm curious to know how much Justin Timberlake got. Did he get a different deal? Does he get?
He absolutely got a different deal. He was a star.
Well, you know what? Still, you still have to look at it in the context. Pusha T at the time was not as popular or very well known, from what I understand, because I'm not really big into that world. However, Justin Timberlake was. So you got two artists who are just as important, because one can't do his job without the other job. Right. Yet, did he represent himself? Pusha T really take the time to go and see what options he had in order to get a better deal. That is the play, because McDonald gonna play you every day, baby.
That's so interesting.
Is not still getting money from that ad.
No, that's so interesting, because 2004 was the infamous. 2004 was the time that he did the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2004, because I remember distinctly that Super Bowl. That was huge for Justin Timberlake. Was the it person. So McDonald's just hit it out the park with this ad.
It just did.
That's why they have expert marketers. We're not talking about any old business. We're not talking about mom and pop. We're not even talking about, a little bit of Walmart level at that year. We are talking about a company that has made sure that, like you said, sells happiness. But what does that do? When they got the height, the very, very height of the love of people because they got it pretty early. But let's face it, 70s was the huge turn when parents were both working, children were depending on this Happy Meal. They're tapping into the joy of also us who grew up in that time frame. Okay, we tend to share things that made us happy with our children. So what they're doing is they're growing with us because we also grew with the music. And now we are the parents. And now we're sharing those experiences. This is much deeper than just paying somebody a certain amount of money. They know the game, but we also need to learn how to play.
Absolutely. Well, Justin Timberlake got $6 million to their $1 million combined.
And so I can guarantee you they had money to play with Pusha T.
Absolutely. So you think
he also came with his counsel, maybe during the contracting. He probably brought his counsel with him, right? Sometimes it's just knowing how to represent you, and But if we keep looking back, like Alicia said, then the regret sets in and you feel bad. But I think knowing the whole situation, I just believe he got what he wanted that time at that age. And now we can see more and more and more, and then we get more upset about it. But it's just the way it was then. But now we can do better when we go into the meetings.
Know better, do better. Yeah. So according to the news, despite his financial gain, Justin Timberlake has publicly expressed regret about the McDonald's deal, though he didn't specify the reasons for that $6 million, failure that he got. But it's probably because they made, a cold cajillion dollars, and he probably should have felt like he should have done the same thing and maybe got some type of percentage. So they all don't feel like they got their fair share.
It's always going to make you feel that way.
Yeah, you get what you sign. At the end of the day, you get what you sign. And so it's like, somebody, I have a friend who got mad at another friend because they felt like they should have given them something, but they didn't specify what they wanted. But they said, well, you should know. No, well, they told her, they said, no, you give me what you want. And they gave them what they felt like they deserved. And then they got mad. Like, wait a minute. I thought I was more of a friend to you than this. And you've only given me this. You get what you asked for or you don't. So you can't get mad later because somebody gave you either what you asked for or you didn't tell them what you wanted. So you can't hold people accountable. We're going to go to one last commercial and we'll come back and wrap things up.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Yes, Hunty. So I think it's really about culture. Y'all, Black people, we can sell. He said, I can sell a water to a well. We know how to sell. We are we're at the forefront of everything that's fashionable, everything that's popular, everybody wants to be us, but they just don't want to be us. They want to be like us, but they don't want to be us. And the bottom line is we move culture. And so my question to you all, Aisha, what do you think in about like artists doing things for these major corporations that are changing the game? Should they go in knowing that they should be asking for more, knowing what type of influence that they have?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, you have to know yourself, know thyself, right? What am I worth? And knowing what I know and the culture, and I know how our culture moves everybody. With that in mind, whatever I decide to do with a corporation, knowing how, especially if like it's a McDonald's or RB's, huge companies, you know what you're getting into, which means you have to also show up with the big guns. Don't show up, yourself. While they come, the same big McDonald's that has more money than you will still show up in the meetings with multiple counsel, lawyers, and while you come by yourself with one person. Like, no, you match their power. If you come to that meeting, right, match their power. So that way, whatever it is that you want to present, your artistry or your or the things that you, whatever you're working, your talent, that you're getting what you're worth. Because it is going to be like that. It's not going to stop, but you have to know thyself, trust yourself, but then come with people to match the kind of power they have at that table, because they called you for a reason. If you're not worth that, why did they call you into that room to give you that opportunity? So you have to come prepared. Be prepared and don't be afraid. Don't be so eager to sign, because there's a reason they called you into that room. And we are so brilliant as a people that we should now start working in that space and not be afraid. That's how I feel. Not be afraid to ask for what we deserve, because we know that as a people want to emulate us over and over again. But if we don't remember that, knowing ourselves, then we keep losing. And then we look back and say, well, I should have, would have. Well, you know who you are. Go out there and ask for what you deserve.
Yeah, amen. Lala, one of the slides talked about how most people don't know their publishing rights. And you have a lot of new artists coming in and signing these 360 deals that are terrible. What can they do? Like, what kind of advocacy is out there to support them? Or, what can they do to avoid those pitfalls of signing those deals that ensure that they have no ownership? I talked to Warren G, and Warren G essentially saved Def Jam, right? Def Jam was on the brink of bankruptcy. And the first time I talked to him, he was saying that he was trying to get his publishing because they own his publishing. And he said he basically bought them back from the brink of bankruptcy, but they won't give him his publishing. And so he's been fighting for that. But that's like a lot of young artists. Remember, Diddy had given back publishing to all of his artists after he had like ran it out, right? After there was nothing left. So for these young people getting into the business, what can they do? How do they avoid this?
Well, we have to remember, we're even talking about older artists such as, Ray Charles was able to negotiate his rights. Little Richard was not. This is why Little Richard was working all the way well into his 90s, because he did not own those. However, the Beach Boys, baby, got all of that because they knew how to do it. It's definitely down not party lines, but definitely culturally. A lot of times we're willing to take the scraps that they want to offer us without knowing that what we say, what I stand by, they want everything but the struggle. Okay, so they think and just assume that you are going to be naive enough to take those 2 carrots instead of the 1 and be happy with it. Now, listen, if you're going to be an artist, you need to know a little bit about your artistry. And nobody said you have to be a thorough, got to know it inside out, got to go get an attorney and my own law degree. No, but you need to understand what contracts mean. And where do you start? A lot of people don't talk about this. If you are a true artist, you truly do need to join places like ASCAP and BMI, because they do offer the basics for you to understand the industry so that you won't just go signing things willy-nilly. They also have resources for you where you probably can tap into some of their attorneys. You may pay a small fee, but they are also there working for you as well. So don't get so blindsided that you don't think you have options. If you are an artist and you are putting stuff out, the first thing you need to be doing is making sure that you copyright your stuff, period. 2, you need to understand the basics. And 3, align yourself with companies in your industry.
Period, Pooh. That. I love it. Dr. Alicia, we're going to end with the final thoughts, and we'll start with you. What are your final thoughts on this whole topic? What can we learn from today?
I think all of us need to think about how, in what ways do we prioritize external validation over your deeper values and making decisions about your career, what's important to you, what decisions you're going to make, going into contracts, knowing your worth. If you are a company contracting with someone else, making sure that the business behind it is fair. I mean, there's lots of business deals that I've done with people where I didn't make any money, but I'm proud of the product that I have delivered, you know. And so you have to think about what you would do differently. It would be so beautiful if we had a crystal ball and we could see into the future and know for certain what the future is going to be. And so business and entertainment is so tricky and squishy. You can't really nail it down. And I just think that we all just need to be easier on ourselves, stop being so hard on ourselves. You know, entertainers and entrepreneurs, to me, because I've been hanging out with entrepreneurs, they have a light to them. They have like this energy in them that's like a winning energy. Really great entrepreneurs just have this upbeat, I can do it, mind over matter, and it's contagious. And I just love it. I love this space. It's so much better than academia. Academia can be a very sad place. So I just think that just bring light into everything that you do. That's what I try to do. Focus on your reputation, focus on being professional. Your reputation precedes you. So always go into things thinking long-term and not just be short-sighted. I need my money right now. Instant gratification. Isn't that what we're talking about? Just focus on putting out good products, making sure that the business model behind it is sound. You got your lawyers in place, and you don't have to think about that. And you can just sit and work on being creative in your craft and helping out the world in whatever way you want to do that as an entrepreneur. So anybody interested in working with me, you can contact me here, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. I work with couples. I work with individuals. I also work with families. And so I look forward to interacting with anybody who's interested in working with me.
Beautiful. I know what you said about entrepreneurs. I was talking to my daughter last night. She was like, Mom, you're an anomaly. Like, I do more before they get up than most people do all day. And so they're like, how? It's like, we all got the same 24 hours in a day. You just do. But anyway, what are your final thoughts, Aisha?
Final thoughts. You know, it's such a great topic today, and I can see where we all have different feelings about what happened. But I think that just understanding like the basics, your copyright, licensing, and more importantly, I just believe, you know, if you don't know the answers, get an expert to help you. Because sometimes I think we should change ourselves, trying to do everything by ourselves. And then when we get into a pickle, then we have so much regret. You know, just get an expert if you can, just to help you navigate what you don't understand, right? That way you have better results. And at the end of the day, you know, just the fact that that jingle is known around the world, it's his own reward to Pusha T. It's his own reward that he'll be remembered. So I think that, yes, I may not have the money, I may have spent the money, but to me, just thinking about the fact that now I know about him, that he wrote that, that's its own reward. And I hope that all of us, as we go into any kind of thing we're doing, we know our worth, right? But we remember who we are and our character, and we lead in that space, and not worry about what we didn't do right because we made mistakes. I have made a lot of mistakes, but I realized that looking back over and over again doesn't help me. Instead, I look forward. So I hope that that's what we take from here. We learn the lessons and we move forward.
Amen. That's a good word. All right. What about you, Lala? What are your final thoughts? Oh, Aisha, where can they find you? Wait,
where can we find you, Aisha?
I'm so sorry. AishaVersey.com, and I'm also at the Black Business School. Look for me there if you're thinking about your finances, getting things in order, making sure that you transfer your wealth properly. You can reach me there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Miss Lala, what are your final thoughts?
You're smarter than you know. You know what? You have the resources, especially now. I absolutely tap into Constance a lot. Constance doesn't realize how much she lives in my head, because every time I want to know something, I say, Google that shit, okay? Because that's true. You can go to AI and get some general information, but here's the tip. Do not depend on that, because that also is biased. But you can put in, what do I need to do if I'm a current artist that is being offered such and such and such? What is my benefits? What are my pros? What are my cons? Then align with that to a professional that can help you at the professional organizations. Listen, you have a power as an artist. We all know that music is the soundtrack of life and the way we also live our life. I don't know how many times I walked around with that jingle in my head, but I know I'm always saying ba-da-ba-ba-ba, and I know that's McDonald's. Somebody's getting ching ching and rent free in my head. So understand your power and then understand your worth. So don't just get willy-nilly and go behind smoke screens and get so excited that you're shortchanging yourself. Now, where can you find me? Listen, I got something big going on right now. We're starting a 21-day Go Live Glow Up, July 1st. We had a wonderful, wonderful training this past weekend with Fly Nubian Money Club, and I taught on how you can get on here and do what we do, because it does help you with your business. Now, I have a special going on until Friday, but you're going to miss out if you don't go to my website and get more information, www.laurakey.net.
Good shit, Laura Key. Good shit. I can't wait to see all the people going live. That's going to be good. Shalom said, we don't think in terms of ownership. We think in terms of customers. We got to start looking at ourselves as the investor rather than the consumer. We have to change the mindset of how we think. Because Pusha T got $1 million for that jingle, and that jingle made McDonald's billions of dollars. And it sounds like a win, right? On the onset, that sounds like a win, but it's also a reminder that ownership and equity are always worth more than a quick check. We got to think about that, Black people, because we've seen this story before. Over and over again, Black creators setting trends, building culture, moving the needle, and walking away with pennies while corporations are making billions of dollars. So the lesson is, don't just create, you guys. We have to learn how to negotiate, like Lala said, the art of negotiation. Ask for those points, ask for those percentages, ask for those royalties, ask for the back end, because the real money is in the long game, just like Jason Weaver did. So we got to think about that, not the lump sum right now. You are bringing the sauce, y'all. So make sure, that you own a recipe. That's bars. Oh, so listen, we're going to end this today. And while it's important that, thank you for joining us today as we unpack the importance of owning your publishing rights and securing long-term financial success. Pusha T's story is a powerful reminder that as creatives, we must be proactive about protecting our work and ensuring our financial future. Remember, the key to wealth building isn't just creating, it's about owning. Keep learning, keep negotiating, and most importantly, keep protecting your legacy. Till next time, stay Black, stay powered, and protect your coins. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, and we out here. Peace.